Hi, welcome to Truth by Billie Beene. Today's date, December 30, 2024, time in Texas, about 2 p.m. Some of my sources I'll use today: God and the Bible Patriot subscribers, Steve Quayle, Mike Adams, Hal Turner, Jess Napolitano, Larry Johnson, Scott Ritter, David NINO RODGRIQUEZ Plus. Some of the things we'll cover: President Trump, anointed. President Putin says, I believe in God. Syria, the HTS leader is being outed as being Mossad. And President Carter, rest in peace. So let's get started. I'd like to say thank you to Jonelle Enterprises for extra support for my channel. And I noticed that Ward Carroll puts out a good source for information called ground.news. And we have this. Okay, so we have some things going on in space, and we can't discount the impact of space weather on the Earth and on politics, amazingly enough, because space weather impacts weather on Earth, impacts humans. So what we have going on the sun in the past 24 hours has ejected from sunspot 3936 3 X's, 1.1, 1.5, and a 1.5. Now, I had put out recently that we have sunspots on the sun facing the Earth that are working synergistically. One fires and triggers another. So this triggering from 3936 also triggered sunspot 3932, which is 200,000 kilometers away. That was the 1.5 X flare this morning. So we see things going on now. So we should expect December 31. We will have a geomagnetic storm 2 to 3, with auroras likely to be seen at mid-latitudes in the U.S. and Europe. So that's going on. And now we have this. Okay, so we'll cover a little bit about what's going on with those drones. And I think the majority of American citizens understand the U.S. military is involved, the U.S. government is involved, plus an unknown player, because we're seeing drones and planes and orbs. So that's going on. DAHBOO puts this out, that U.S. cities are seeing these drones, particularly in the East Coast, U.S., New York, New Jersey, down to Florida, some locations in Texas, all the way over to the West Coast, California. And that information is coming out that many of the things we're seeing in our skies were built by DARPA and Palantir, a contractor. So much of what we see in our skies has been produced by the U.S. military, the U.S. government. So when we hear reports, the U.S. military, the U.S. government, oh, we don't know what they are, but they're no threat, we can say, shut up. So that's going on. But we do have a third player. These orbs, it's believed, are not part of U.S. military or U.S. gov. So that's a question mark. Iceman_Fox1 has a new video showing a drone-like. So these drones we're seeing are shaped something like this. And these are shapes of spacecraft we've been seeing in our space movies for decades. So one is seen, I'll link their video for you. One is seen over Los Angeles. So that's going on. And now we have this. So I'll try to link this video of Kim CLEMENT, who came out in 2011 and was talking about President Trump being president. That's years before he said he would run. And the Lord says, I put a man in the White House who is anointed to do my will. And Kim CLEMENT put out that that was President Trump. Now, Larry Taylor, he's on with Beston Taylor. He also appears with Augusto Perez on The Appearance. Had a dream or a word from the Lord where Larry could see on President Trump the Lord's anointing. That was during his first term, and Larry says he still sees it on President Trump for his second term. So we say, Father, bring it. We are very happy with that. It's good to have someone who hears from God in the White House. From Alex Christefero, he's a European journalist, talking about that recent plane that went down in Azerbaijan. So we have Russia, Ukraine, Azerbaijan. Now, I submit something's going on with this. It was a civilian plane. This happened about December 24, I believe. It was going from Azerbaijan to Chechnya, a part of Russia, over the Caspian Sea. It was forced to land in Kazakhstan. It crash landed, had on it number of souls on it between 100 to 62. It's believed that 28 lived. It was a crash. Now, we're asked to believe that this civilian plane took off from Azerbaijan, flying to Chechnya, where since in the last 48 hours before this Azerbaijan plane took off for Chechnya, Ukraine had been firing drones, armed drones, into Chechnya. Now, we're to believe that this civilian plane took off going into a hot shooting combat zone where Russia had already put, I believe, a NOTAM of some duration. So it doesn't make sense that this civilian plane took off to land in a hot combat zone. And yet, that's what we're asked to believe, and we're asked to believe that it was taken down by a Russian air defense missile. That is possible. It's equally possible it was taken down by a Ukraine drone. But I submit there are questions here. It doesn't make sense that a civilian plane takes off to land in a hot shooting combat zone. That's the part that is very questionable to me. So, questions are still going on about that. And now we have this statement, according to Alex Christefero. President Putin has made a public statement. I believe in God. I believe God is with us. And Russia's goal for 2025 is military victory. And the initial plan put forth by President Trump's go-between with Russia, General Kellogg, is that a freeze be put in place. Russia has said categorically, we will not accept the freeze. A freeze would be where Ukraine stops firing and Russia stops firing. This simply gives both sides time to rearm. And President Putin appears to be solidly going forward with all-out military action to achieve military victory in 2025. And 2025 will be upon us in about 48 hours. And now we have this. So we have Israel, Lebanon, Syria. Now I submit that fall of the Syrian government headed by President Assad reminded me of the domino fall of governments in 2020. You know, with the COVID, oh, this nation shuts down and this nation shuts down, and all happened in about a 90-day period. It looked like it was some kind of plan. Okay. Syria also appeared to be some type of plan, most likely by Israel or the U.S. plus. We had Turkey in there for sure. Now comes this new information that the leader of this new HTS group, formerly Al-Qaeda and Al-Nusra, and now HTS, Jolani, apparently was educated in Israel. We don't know exactly what his lineage is, but he definitely appears to be a Mossad asset. And he was educated in Tel Aviv at the Islamic School of Jurisprudence. It's believed he's Mossad, possibly of Jewish ancestry. And he has been recruited and educated and set in place by Israel. So Al-Jolani was born Jonathan Avi David. So his Jewish name is Jonathan Avi David. That's his Jewish name. Since the 1950s, and this information is coming out from a Israeli news source, Ynet News. Since the 1950s, Mossad men would marry Arab women and then raise the children to be Mossad assets, spies, so that they had an Islamic identity. Jolani, born Jonathan Avi David in Israel, is believed to be one of these individuals. And it appears that all along, it was the Israel and U.S. who were putting in place and guiding rebels inside Syria with the intent all along to take over Syria, which has now come to be and is firmly under the control of Israel. And now we have this. So rest in peace, President Carter. He passed Sunday, December 29, at his home in Plains, Georgia. He was president from 1977 to 1981, a Democrat. And he was president when a group of rebels, it's now believed, most likely put in place and guided by Mossad inside Iran, and a group of revolutionary students invaded the U.S. Embassy and then kept 52 U.S. Citizens, diplomats, hostage for 444 days. Now, as President Carter was leaving office in 1981, President Reagan was coming in, and President Reagan said to Iran, "I'll be inaugurated on January 20. If those hostages have not been released by January 20, Iran will be bombed." So the hostages were released prior to the inauguration of President Reagan. And now we see President Trump making a similar statement to Hamas to release its hostages before President Trump's inauguration, January 20. And we see that President Carter passed away at the age of 100, and he and his wife had been married 77 years. Rosalind Carter passed away last year. President Carter will be buried next to his beloved wife in the family cemetery located near Plains, Georgia. So we say, rest in peace, President Carter. And now we have this. Yeah, President Trump, according to Reuters, on his first day, the U.S. will withdraw from who? And we say, bring it, President Trump. The American people want to withdraw from all globalist organizations. Who? The UN, NATO, the World Bank, and so on. We want to isolate and rebuild America and close down many of those 800 foreign military bases and bring our military home. We have millions of illegals to expel from this country, plus it's believed we have millions of CCP military, Iranian military inside our country right now. We need our U.S. military home to be fighting against our enemies, domestic and foreign, who are embedded in our nation right now. So we applaud, and Reuters comes out. President Trump on his first day will withdraw from who? That should get rid of this propaganda we're currently hearing about bird flu. So that's going on. And now, also, rest in peace, is a star in the 1980s movie Crocodile Dundee. Bert the crocodile, who played the part in the movie at the age of 52, has passed away at the age of 90 at a crocodile habitat located in Australia, Darwin, Australia. So Bert has passed away. And now we have this from David Nino Rodriguez. Yes, so on January 3, we know that in the process of setting up a new president and the U.S., we have they had to be certified. That's by the states. And then January 6, I believe, is the formal certification of the vote. And then January 20 is the formal inauguration ceremony. So now, on January 3, David Nino Rodriguez brings this out. We will have ending on January 3. The term will end, and this is for the Speaker, Mike Johnson. And we have also KH and JB. Their terms will be ending. So we have to re-elect, apparently, a new Speaker of the House or continue the current one. So that's going on. So a lot of people are trying to push this. Now, President Trump is not going to be inaugurated. They're going to push, shut up. It's going to come about just the way we have it legally set up. Okay, BPEARTHWATCH brings this out. Yeah. So I brought out some information recently that the U.S. State Department has its own intel group. And part of its intel group is called GEC. And this group controls speech of Americans, so speech in our public formats, or public platforms. We have a group operating unconstitutionally in the State Department to control the speech of American citizens. In other words, you're not supposed to say anything publicly that the government doesn't tell you to say. And they had a budget, $50 million per year, a staff of 120. But now, with that we had a recent budget that was passed. That was at the end of December. There was this huge budget package that went away. We have now a temporary budget in place to keep the government from shutting down until March. The pork field budget that did not pass contained the continued money for GEC. GEC, Global Engagement Center. It opened in 2016. The purpose of this group, under the Intel Group of the U.S. State Department, is to censor the speech of American citizens. And we have this, some of this money, because their total budget was in the billions, also gave money to mainstream media to also clamp down on freedom of speech by American citizens. And mainstream media had secret lists and contracts, and they were to put down any type of government dictated disinformation put forth by American citizens about anything about the government or anything about health. It was to be censored. So we had a group of the Intel Group of the U.S. State Department, funded in 2016, to censor the speech of American citizens. Now, their budget went away. They are not being funded. Yep. So, yeah. And President Trump, under his FCC chairman, Brendan Carr, We'll also work to take down any other internal government groups whose goal is to control the speech of American citizens. So that's going on. So we see, I believe, God is working in America. And now we have this. President Trump, oh yeah, what he said recently about Canada. So this is coming forth. If Canada becomes the 51st state, it would lower U.S. taxes by 60% in Canada. And we would combine the militaries of the U.S. and Canada and secure the northern border of the U.S. So, I believe it's good to be in prayer for America and for world peace. I love you, and I'll see you soon.